Well, I've highlighted the indisputable fact that the share of government funding taken from households via higher taxes and freezing the bands, so fiscal drag means that we pay more. And despite the promise of tax cuts, that's led to the highest proportion ever. In fact, it is a bigger impost on households than the high interest rate payments that were there thanks to the rate hikes. Now, this is a function of corporations paying less tax thanks to their ability to structure their affairs, and also because they get massive government handouts, and also their capacity to lobby and pressure our elected officials. Given the fact that the federal budget is facing a structural deficit, perhaps it should be no surprise that a new front in taxation is opening. And that relates to taxing assets, and especially unrealized gains. It starts with superannuation, but it's frankly unlikely to stop there. In fact, last Tuesday's budget indeed revealed Labour is full steam ahead on taxing unrealised capital gains. This proposal first appeared in the 2023-24 budget when the ALP proposed taxing unrealised capital gains on superannuation balances which exceeded $3 million. That would have increased the tax rate on earnings above the threshold from 15% to 30% starting in July 2025. Now, it's worth noting that earnings in the accumulation stage are taxed at 15%, so this is an additional 15% on top of the proportion of earnings on the balance sheets above $3 million. And there's no provision at this stage to index the $3 million cap to inflation, so that while $3 million may sound unattainable through our 2025 eyes, we can't assume that'll be the case in the years to come because, of course, inflation is still there. The proposal, though, did face significant opposition, particularly from farmers and self-managed super funds, who argued that it would force premature asset sales to cover tax liabilities. Well, that perhaps should send the alarm bells ringing, because the concept is to tax unrealised gains. And whilst they're talking about superannuation, there is clearly a risk that in a desperate attempt to find more funds, the government, once the precedent has been set, could move on to other assets, including potentially family savings and maybe even the family home. So this is the thin end of a very significant wedge.